switching over regarding President Trump and what he has been saying um, vis-a-vis Israel and Iran, let's change over to this war that just literally started, I think, right after you and I last spoke. And one of the recordings we had, it wasn't even on the radar. I think I was running at the park on a Sunday evening. I forget which day it was, and all of a sudden I'm, phones blowing up and social media is talking all about it. And there's been these, attacks from Israel, against nuclear scientists, top heads in Iran's military, as well as nuclear enrichment sites. So, can you catch us up, giving us the back to school approach when it comes to
Sure.
what's happened over the last week and a half, and what are we aware is going on right now?
The American approach to Iran has been twofold. One is threaten, that if they don't reach an agreement about nuclear arms, that is to say, Israel is threatened by Iran because if they have a nuclear weapon, that could be an existential threat to its existence. And because America supports Israel, they favor or they support Israel's contention that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. That's been ongoing, and so between threats of an invasion by Israel to knock out the nuclear sites that are being built, and an agreement that has been in place before, but Trump backed out of, and then started negotiating again with Iran, hoping to reach a new nuclear agreement where Iran would not venture into weaponry, but could use nuclear power for industrial purposes.
Hmm.
Uh, it appears from an inspection that was held by international monitors,
Yeah.
UN types, that despite what Iran was saying, they have actually been secretly building towards having nuclear weapons. And it seems that there are likely about 15 sites where they could have nuclear weapons. So that's just a no-no for Israel. So Israel ultimately decided, okay, we got to knock these sites out, and they started the war. And so almost almost instantly they knocked out through a very clever ruse, I guess. They
Mhm.
collected all the major leaders in the
Yeah.
nuclear area, including military leaders and scientists, like you mentioned, and they wiped them out. They were all in one building, and they blasted the building. And they now have achieved complete control over the skies of Iran
Yeah.
in terms of airplanes and stuff like that. And
So
they're
yeah,
bombing away.
yeah. So I've been curious. A lot of people in the U.S., talk about that this was not necessary because Trump allegedly tore up the deal that was made previously between the Obama administration and Iran. Is that the case, or are we talking apples and oranges? I'm so a little confused about that. Now, I could go back in time and do the digging and the research and read up. And I know your focus has been, I think, more focused on European affairs,
Yeah.
and that this might be, me kind of
Oh,
putting you on the spot. But what's your take on that? Was there a deal that was in place that if it had been followed and allowed to flourish up until 2016 when it was canceled by our side, that things would be very different now? Or do you think that President Trump had a point that there was some shady dealings going on by the other side that has led us here, that the U.S. was justified in getting out of the deal? You might recall this, right? This was a big
I
deal in
do. I do.
2016,
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah. You've hit it right. Um, it's hard to say. It's hard to say whether that agreement would have held and whether we would have been in a safer world today had it held all the way through. So you have to kind of put your best guess out there. And my best guess was if you've got an agreement and they're, trying to abide by it. Maybe, inspections should have happened, and efforts should have been made to revigorate the agreement if there was failings. But to withdraw completely and allow the situation to deteriorate this way, well, we know what happened in
Yeah.
that, in
Yeah.
that road. So, but that's, lessons learned, and 2020 hindsight.
Correct.
At this moment, there's a war going on between Israel and Iran, and
Yeah.
people are dying in both countries. Iran does not have the capability to completely bombard Israel because of the Iron Dome that Israel has, and America's helping protect Israel to some degree. But some of the rockets are getting through. People have died, not to the extent, like I think there's 200 and maybe a little more than 200 people who have died in Iran. They're in the teens, I think, perhaps 20 or 2 dozen or so in
Yeah.
Israel. But the fact is, people are dying on both sides, and there's much more war to come, it appears.